All right, Shalom. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. All praises to the Most High. I got some pain in my calf. I think I sprained my calf muscle, but that's neither here nor there. I'm limping around today, and since I'm resting it up in bed, I thought, let me get some of this work done on part 2 of the mummies found in Lexington, Kentucky, and proving that they are Israelites, and proving that the Israelites did dwell over here in America through the part 2 of the same article I read before on part 1. So this one is actually from the New York newspaper archive, the New York State newspaper archives. I've been flipping around through different states, and it's very interesting. The California archives, where I found the original article about the 2,000 mummies found in Lexington, Kentucky, did not have the rest of this paragraph, did not have this little clip on the bottom, which this dude added, confirming where the guy questioned in the beginning, why would these mummies be here, and they pretty much seem to be Egyptian, if not Israelite. He implied heavily, as I said in my first video. Why is he implying that these mummies are Israelites? Why is he bringing up the ancient Israelites? And then in this article, it goes in saying, let me confirm to you why these are Israelite mummies. So first, we're going to start out with some scriptures. Let me flip to the book of Job. I believe it's in Job 9:24. Okay, here we are. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Let's get some other verses. Jeremiah 16, verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. And last but not least, one of my favorite, Maccabees, verse 3, and chapter 3, verse 48. And I laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. But that's something we already know. So I have many other things that we're going to talk about, many other things that I'm going to make videos about. Hopefully right after this, I can just do one and bang them out after the other. But I got a lot of art here I got to draw too. A lot of Hebrew art I got to get drawn too. So let's just finish up this the mummy thing that we started. Now, in the first video, we talked about the mummies found in catacomb in Lexington, Kentucky, 2,000 of them, where they broke open the mouth of a cave, went in there, and they started seeing all these little side rooms and these things like that, and they found over 2,000 mummies. They went into this dark room, and, well, let's just figure it out. Keep on reading it. With augmented numbers and provided with light, they descended and entered without obstruction a spacious apartment. The sides and extreme ends were formed into niches and compartments, and occupied by figures representing men. When alarm subsided, and the sentiment of dismay and surprise permitted further research and inquiry, the figures were found to be mummies preserved by the art of embalming, as a great state of perfection, as was known amongst the ancient Egyptians 1,800 years before the Christian era. Now, this was the part that I said was weird. They could have just said which was known to the Egyptians, which was about the time the Israelites were in bondage in Egypt, when this art was in their perfection. And then it stops right there, and there's 5 of those little stars, those 5 of those little doot stars, meaning I think that they took or they clipped something from this paragraph and they moved on with the next of it. Now, it goes on further into the article saying that Dr. Ash, the man that was in charge of discovering these mummies and looking into the rest of the mummies, because we know in the previous article that the people in charge, that when these mummies were found in 1775, if I remember correctly, that they were at war with the Indians, and that the people who found these mummies were so mad at the Indians, were in such full of revenge to the Indians, that they automatically assumed that the local Indians that they were at war with, these were their ancestors. So they brought them all out, and they smashed and burned as many of them as they can, while taking whatever they found valuable. Disgusting, right? Shameful, right? Go watch part 1 and you'll see the details of that video and what they did to the mummies and what they did to the tombs they found. And that seems to be something that this nation that likes to cover up the face of the judges likes to do. They're famous for burning libraries. They're famous for attempting to wipe people out of history and change the pages of history and write themselves in or write themselves out of things that they did and don't want to be known that they did, or things that they want to be known for doing but they didn't do. So we're going to jump down to here. Mr. Ash has the following reflections: how these bodies were embalmed, how long preserved, by what nations, and from what people descended. No opinion can be formed or any calculation made, but what must result from the speculative fancy and wild conjecture. For my part, I am lost in the deepest ignorance. My reading affords me no knowledge. My travels no light. I have neither read nor known of any North American Indians who formed catacombs from their dead, or who were acquainted with the art of preservation by embalming. So that right there, he's saying, what Indians in the Americas embalmed their dead? This is something that the Egyptians did, and when we found these mummies in Lexington, Kentucky, it seemed like they were embalmed to a state that it was over the Egyptians, that it rivaled the Egyptians, if not was the Egyptians, and that pretty much we stumbled upon what I think is they basically stumbled upon an Israelite/Egyptian catacomb, because we know that they dwelled over here, the tribes of Nephi, the people of Nephi. So right here is where it gets very interesting, and where it didn't go into detail of this in the first article. Now get this part. This was, like I said, in the California newspaper archives, this didn't say this. And I think that was in 1867, the article that was written about these. They were found in 1775, but there's an article written about them in 1867. This one is from the New York archives. Same article, but goes into more details. Had Mr. Ash and his researches consulted the Book of Mormon? Why would Mr. Ash need to consult the Book of Mormon? What did the Mormons know? Why did the Mormons so obsessed about Utah? Why did they name every part of that state of Utah after a biblical state or a biblical city or a biblical location? Oh, that's right. We all know the Americas were a great place where biblical events took place, and that the wicked covered the faces of the judges, switched the maps, and did a bunch of trickery to pull people off and switch the areas which are now known as biblical areas. They now point the finger over there to the Middle East and North Africa, saying, oh, everything happened over there, everything happened over there, everything happened over there, while pretty much hiding the fact that they have taken over the Promised Land, which we're going to get into in another article. Another article from the New York State Archives, I think from the 1700s or the 1800s, where it says that biblical prophecy is being fulfilled in the Americas, and that the sons and the descendants of Japheth are on Shem's land. The Shem's land is the descendants of the Israelites. Shem is the Israelites. Shem is the dark-skinned Israelites. And it says that the children of Japheth are over here dwelling in the tents of Shem. But we're going to get to that article probably after this. Let me keep on reading. Now, had Mr. Ash in his researches consulted the Book of Mormon, his problem would have been solved, and he would have had found no difficulty in accounting for the mummies being found in the above-mentioned case. So the 2,000 mummies, this dude's saying, if this dummy read the Book of Mormon, he would know why he found Egyptian/Israelite mummies in America, in Lexington, Kentucky. The Book of Mormon gives an account of a number of the descendants of Israel coming to this continent, and it is well known that the art of embalming was known among the Hebrews as well as among the Egyptians, although perhaps not generally among the former as among the latter people, and their method of embalming was also might be different from that of the Egyptians. So he pretty much just admitted they found the Israelite mummies, because it says these mummies were likened to the point where the embalming was so good it reminded them of the Egyptians, but it wasn't quite the Egyptians. Here's where the next to this little thing underneath it, finishing up this paragraph or this article, goes into more detail. Jacob and Joseph were no doubt embalmed in the manner of the Egyptians, as they died in that country. When our Savior was sacrificed His hasty burial obliged them only to wrap his body in linen with 100 pounds of myrrh, knolls, and similar spices, part of the ingredients of embalming, given by Nicodemus for that purpose. But Mary and the other holy women had prepared ointment and spices for embalming it. Matthew 59, Luke 56, John 39:40. This art was no doubt transmitted from Jerusalem to this continent by before mentioned immigrants. So the immigrants of Nephi. Nephi was the one who came over here. Read the Book of Mormon and the tablets of Nephi. He was brought to a land overflowing with milk and honey, bountiful with different animals, with different food, with everything was different trees. And he flourished over here, and they built great civilizations over here. And Nephi taught his children how to build great cities, and the Most High gave him tablet. Let me hold on. You know what? I have the Book of Nephi over here. I don't want to make this video too long, but I mean the Book of Mormon over here. Is there anything I can open up to this really quickly? Here's this Nephi 22 and 12. I have these. I'm just looking through my notes right here, and this is just more proof that wherefore he will bring them again out of captivity, and they shall be gathered together to the lands of their inheritance, and they shall be brought up out of obscurity and out of darkness, and they shall know that the Lord is their Savior and their Redeemer and the Mighty One. There's a lot. Okay, here we go. Wherefore this land is this is Nephi, second Nephi, verse 1, chapter 1, verse 7. Wherefore this land is consecrated unto him who he shall bring, and if it so be that they shall serve him according to the commandments which he hath given it, shall be a land of liberty unto them. Wherefore they shall never be brought down into captivity. If so, it shall be because of iniquity. For if iniquity shall abound, cursed shall be the land of their sakes. But the righteous it shall be blessed forever. And behold, it is the wisdom that this land shall be kept as yet from the knowledge of the other nations. Don't we know that the Greeks were obsessed about finding the Americas? The Greeks knew about a land filled with dark-skinned, copper-colored people that they could never obtain, or they could never find the sea routes to, or never actually travel to by sea. The Egyptians knew about, many people knew about the Americas, but they seemed to never be able to find their way over here. And even I'm not going to say many people knew, but I'm saying that in a way as many people who are privy to that knowledge knew about it. It was rumored, it was legend. And we know by different articles, and we know about different videos and people that we are experts in this. We know that the Americans, the natives that dwell over here, the dark-skinned natives that dwell over here, made trips over to other parts of the world. And they were like, where the hell did you come from? For behold, many nations would overrun the land, and there would be no place for an inheritance. Is that not what the Caucasians do when they pull up on scene? Didn't Big Judah do a video where he pretty much described how that certain nations and people weren't told about certain lands, or they were the last to know about certain lands because their tendencies and their practices immediately were just to destroy the lands and to overrun them and to just suck the resources dry. They don't know how to stay in balance with nature. So there's some verses from the book of Nephi. Let's finish this up. This was no doubt transmitted from Jerusalem to this continent by before mentioned immigrants, which accounts for finding the mummies, and at the same time is another strong evidence of the authenticity of the Book of Mormon. Well, the Book of Mormon was not written by a Caucasian. The Book of Mormon was not written by a Gentile. That is absolutely bullshit, and that's them trying to sneak themselves into Scripture. Why would the Most High not work with them through all of time, tell you to stay away from them, tell you that they're evil, tell you that their day of judgment will be coming very soon, but all of a sudden give a white man all the knowledge and let him find the tablets in Nephi, a dark-skinned nation, and let him be the one that interprets them correctly? And all of us, that it's just, they lie. Go watch a video by Neophyte Dag titled Joseph Smith, and he goes into great detail and goes into absolute proof that Joseph Smith was a dark-skinned man. So with that being said, these are the proofs that we have. We know that there's a wicked nation that is completely switched history, has tried to push themselves into it, has tried to whitewash history, has tried to change the pages of history, and they're not getting away with it. Nowadays, their lives are all being torn down. And go through these archive pages, go through the New York State archives, go through your local state archives, newspaper archives, go to the Wayback Machine, go to the Internet archives, go to California digital state archives, and just do keywords. Search up swarthy, search up Indian, search up mummies, search up catacombs, search up mounds, search up pyramids, search up Hebrews, search up swarthy, dark skin, ruddy, search up dragon, search up ancient, search up Montezuma, search up gold, search up underground cities, and see what these articles ranging from the 1600s, 1700s, all the way up to the 1900s and now, and see what they have to say, because you'll see that over a period of time, some knowledge starts to get snuffed out by the nation of people as they started slowly becoming into power, and they slowly started switching the pages of history and writing themselves into it. At one point in time, there was honest people that wrote about honest discoveries, and that they were just happy to find things and they were happy to discover things. And then slowly all this information started to get buried and started to get lied about, and history started to get switched over and hidden. So all praises to the Most High. We're going to get to another video. I'm going to get to the video about the Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and how there's an article saying that biblical prophecy is being fulfilled in the Americas, and how the children of Japheth, how the descendants of Japheth are on Shem's land currently, in his tent, dwelling on his tents, pretty much stealing his blessing, which is a huge violation of a law, a huge violation of a code set up a long time ago. But the children of Japheth work for Satan, so they don't care about that.